The night Ezemmuo told his family, I am not of this world, and soon I will return to my people. His mother Nkiru froze in terror. They had always known he was different, a crippled boy who knew secrets, spoke like an ancestor, and ate what seemed impossible. But this was beyond what they could comprehend. Join us. Let's unravel the mysteries. In Amibo, a quiet village in eastern Nigeria, Nnanna and his wife Nkiru had 5 children. Their last child, a boy named Ezemmuo, was born crippled but with piercing eyes that seemed to see through people. By the time he was 5, it was clear he was no ordinary child. He never left their compound, yet he knew everyone in the village. He would call strangers by name as they passed by their house, leaving them unnerved. One day, his sister Adanna, frustrated by the boy's oddities, said, How do you know everyone when you can't even walk? Ezemmuo smirked and said, They come to me in dreams. They tell me everything. As time goes on, the family noticed strange occurrences. Pots of food kept high on shelves disappeared, leaving everyone confused. One afternoon, Ezemmuo's elder brother, Obinna, decided to spy on him. Hiding behind the door, he watched as Ezemmuo gestured into the air. Slowly, the heavy pot floated down and landed in front of him. Ezemmuo, who is helping you? Obinna shouted, his voice shaking. Ezemmuo didn't flinch. They brought it for me. I was hungry, he replied calmly and began to eat. As Ezemmuo grew older, his mysterious behavior became more alarming. He spoke to himself, laughed when no one else was around, and told riddles that sounded like ancient wisdom. One evening, Nkiru asked him, Ezemmuo, who are you talking to? He looked at her with a mischievous smile. My people, they are always here with me. His father, Nana, became furious. What people? Stop this nonsense. But Ezemmuo only laughed and said, You will understand soon. One day, when Ezemmuo was 16 years old, he made an unsettling announcement during dinner, and he said, It's time for me to return to my family in the water. My people are waiting. Nkiru's spoon dropped, her hand trembling. What are you saying, my son? I am not your son, Ezemmuo replied. I came here to teach you respect. You don't deserve me. Shocked and desperate, the family turned to Adeze, Nana's mother, who was a marine prophetess. She listened quietly as Ezemmuo repeated his declaration. When he finished, she nodded grimly. He speaks the truth. He is a spirit sent by the water people. They demand we take him back, she said. After some days, Adeze made inquiries with the river spirits and returned with instructions. And she said, We must take him to the big river with offerings, a white goat, coral beads, and 7 clay pots. The family prepared with heavy hearts. Neighbors whispered as they saw the family load with offerings. "Where are they taking that strange boy?" one villager asked. "Back to the river," another replied, crossing himself in fear. Ezemmuo, unmoved, smiled and said, "They are ready for me. I'll finally be home." The chosen day came. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, and the family moved quietly toward the big river. Nkiru, Ezemmuo's mother, carried a basket containing the coral beads and clay pots, her hands trembling. Nnanna, his father, led the white goat, while Adeze, the grandmother, walked ahead, leaning on her staff. The villagers trailed them from a distance, murmuring nervously. Ezemmuo sat in a makeshift cart pulled by his brother Obinna. He looked peaceful, his face glowing with a strange joy. "Finally," he said softly, "I will be home." Adanna, his sister, couldn't hold back her tears. "Ezemmuo, what will happen to you?" she said. He turned to her, his smile serene. "Do not cry, sister. This is my destiny." When they arrived at the river, the air felt heavier. The water was calm, but an eerie silence hung over the area. Adeze instructed them to place Ezemmuo in a specific spot on the riverbank, surrounded by the materials they brought. Nkiru hesitated, her hands trembling as she placed the beads and pots around him. And she said, "Ezemmuo, will we see you again?" He looked at her with deep, knowing eyes. "No, Mama, but you will always feel me near," he answered. The family obeyed, blessing him exactly as Adeze directed. When everything was ready, Adeze raised her staff and she said, "It is time. Let us leave." Nkiru sobbed, and Nnanna had to pull her away. The family turned to leave, their steps slow and heavy. As they turned to leave, a loud rumble erupted from the river. Startled, the family turned back and froze in shock. The once calm river now churned violently, and a deafening sound like drums echoed from its depths. In the middle of the commotion, Ezemmuo began to glow. His small, frail body stretched and twisted, and before their very eyes, he transformed into a massive python, shimmering in shades of green and gold. Nkiru screamed, stumbling backward, while Nnanna shielded her. Obinna and Adanna clung to each other, trembling. "What is happening?" Nkiru cried out. Adeze, steady and calm, explained, and she said, "That is who he truly is. Ezemmuo is no ordinary child. He is a great king of the water. The noise you hear is his kingdom celebrating his return." As they were talking, the river erupted in a display of light and sound. Tall water pillars rose, shimmering in the air, as if the river itself was alive. Voices sang from the depths, a hauntingly beautiful melody that sent chills down the spines of everyone present. The python slided into the water, pausing to look back one last time. In that moment, his glowing eyes seemed to communicate gratitude. Then, with a final dive, he disappeared beneath the surface. The family stood motionless, overwhelmed by what they had just witnessed. Nkiru, despite her fear, whispered, "He's at peace now, I can see." Villagers who had followed from afar ran for their lives, chanting, "Ezemmuo, Ezemmuo." They now understood that the boy they had feared was a being of great power from underworld. The days after Ezemmuo's departure were a mix of relief and sadness for the family. The house, once filled with constant tension and unexplained occurrences, now felt quiet and calm. The pots stayed on the shelves untouched. Food wasn't mysteriously devoured, and the eerie sounds of Ezemmuo talking to unseen companions had disappeared. For the first time in years, Nnanna felt the heavy weight lift from his shoulders. His business, which had been in ruins, slowly began to recover. Customers returned, and his profits grew steadily. He thanked God every morning for giving him another chance. Nkiru, though relieved, often sat by the window, staring at the river in deep thought. She missed Ezemmuo's presence, but she also knew life had become unbearable while he was with them. And she muttered to herself, "He wasn't just a boy, he was something beyond our understanding." However, we are not so quick to forget. They whispered among themselves about the boy who was a python and the grandmother Adeze, who was revealed as a witch. The once respected Adeze now walked the village streets alone, her head low. "Did you hear?" One woman whispered to another by the marketplace. The grandmother was the one who brought all this upon them. She's been dealing with spirits for years. "I heard she's not just a prophetess," another replied. "She's a witch. She used her own family to pay for her marine powers." The rumors spread like wildfire, and soon people began avoiding the entire family. The once lively home became isolated, shunned like a plague. Neighbors refused to visit, and children were warned not to play near their compound. Over time, the family began to rebuild their lives. They found solace in their unity, supporting one another through the pain of being ostracized. Nnanna focused on his business, ensuring that his children had a suitable future. Nkiru found strength in her faith, often visiting the church to pray for guidance. Adeze, on the other hand, withdrew from the family and the village. She moved to a secluded hut near the river, spending her days in solitude. No one knew what she did there, and no one cared to ask. Despite their isolation, the family was at peace. The strange, suffocating atmosphere that had hung over their lives for years was gone. They no longer feared the unexplained or the judgment of the villagers. Although they missed Ezemmuo, they couldn't deny the relief his departure brought. Nkiru often said, "He was never truly ours to keep. He belonged to another world." The villagers, still wary, would share stories of Ezemmuo during moonlight evenings. Over time, the tale of the boy who was a python became legend, a story mothers told their children to warn them about respecting the spirits and the unknown. Adeze became a cautionary figure in the village lore, a symbol of how meddling with forces beyond human comprehension could bring devastation. She lived out her days in isolation, shunned even by her own blood, until her eventual passing. For Nnanna, Nkiru, and their children, life moved on. They learned to embrace the quiet, rebuild their trust, and accept the mystery of their past. The family home, though avoided by others, became a sanctuary of peace, a stark contrast to the years of chaos that Ezemmuo had brought. And so the story of Ezemmuo came to an end, leaving behind lessons of resilience, acceptance, and the weight of choices in the interplay between the human and the spiritual world. Thank you. This is where our story ends. But before we conclude it, let's look into our moral lessons and the warnings that comes from this story. The moral lessons: respect the balance between the physical and spiritual worlds. The story underscores the importance of acknowledging and respecting spiritual forces. Meddling with the spiritual realm can have serious consequences for oneself and one's loved ones. Actions have consequences. Adeze's actions as a marine prophetess and her association with spiritual beings directly impacted her family. This shows that decisions made without considering their implications can harm innocent people. Family unity and resilience. Despite their suffering, Nnanna's family stayed united and rebuilt their lives. This teaches the value of perseverance and solidarity in overcoming adversity. Beware of secrets and lies. Hidden truths like Ezemmuo's origin and Adeze's involvement created chaos in the family. Open communication and honesty are essential in maintaining harmony. Danger of pride and neglecting spiritual ethics. Adeze's pride in her powers led her to downfall. This shows the importance of humility and following ethical boundaries, especially when dealing with spiritual matters. Community judgment can be harsh but temporary. The family was ostracized by the village, but their unity and resilience helped them move forward. This highlights that while societal judgment can be painful, inner strength can pave the way for healing. Now, let's look into the warnings. Avoid exploiting spiritual powers for personal gains. Spiritual gifts should be used responsibly. Exploiting them can lead to unintended and devastating consequences, as seen in Adeze's case. Do not ignore signs of trouble. The family overlooked Ezemmuo's strange behaviors for too long. Ignoring warning signs can escalate problems. It's essential to address issues head on before they spiral out of control. The danger of harboring secrets. Keeping secrets, especially those with spiritual implications, can destroy trust and relationships. Transparency is key to a healthy family dynamic. Isolation leads to misunderstanding and stigma. The family's isolation shows how societal stigma can worsen personal suffering. These serve as a warning against shunning or judging others without understanding their circumstances. Spiritual practices should be anchored in positivity. Engaging in spiritual practices that harm others or involve malicious intent can lead to regret and alienation as experienced by Adeze. Beware of generational consequences. The story highlights how the actions of one generation, Adeze's dealing with the marine world, can affect the next. Parents must be mindful of the legacy they leave behind for their children. In conclusion, the story serves as a cautionary tale about the interplay between human actions and spiritual forces. It teaches us to approach spiritual matters with care, prioritize family unity, and avoid letting pride, secrecy, or external influences lead us astray. It also reminds us that resilience and faith can help rebuild lives even after profound challenges. This concludes our story. Thank you once again for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And also touch the bell button so that you will be notified each time we put out new video. Subscribe for more stories with powerful life lessons. Please and please subscribe to help us grow our channel. And please, don't forget to leave your questions and your suggestions in the comment section, and we will come back to attend to every question you put out there. God bless you all as you do so. Bye-bye. Love you so much. Mwah.